there's a couple of things you need to do. And notice the quote on the right, grant seeking is more about knowing what to do rather than how to write, because as I said, it's a pretty direct style. So of course, your first step is to try to develop an actionable plan for what you want to do and why you're doing it. If you were giving a speech, the same thing would be true. So you could almost think of it that way, like what would you be talking about and why should the audience hear about it? And then in terms of this grant, think about how your plan will achieve positive results. Of course, locate the granting organization. Research that organization if you don't already know it, if it's not your university. Review the guidelines very, very carefully, as I've mentioned before. And finally, see if you can find some projects that have gotten successful grants, because that will help you to have models to imitate. And it'll also show you what they value. It'll show you what they're most interested in. Just very quickly, here are just a few more tips. I'm not going to read this all to you, but this idea is that you can go ahead and number some of the steps, like this project's 3 main goals are, this plan will involve 4 stages. Of course, you're going to try to really tailor what you're saying to the grant, the specific grant. Go after grants of all sizes. We haven't talked about budget yet, but I'll let Sangeeta lead the way with that in a moment. And notice this, don't give up. Keep on writing. Writing a grant proposal is hard work. It requires you to closely analyze your vision and consider critically how your solution or your project will respond to a gap, problem, or deficiency. And often, even for seasoned grant writers, you get a rejection. But while you don't always get a yes, the process of writing the grant is extremely informative to you for your research, and often you will get very helpful feedback. So even with the no comes the gift of, here are different things to consider, which is so useful to a scholar. And then finally, just 2 quick sources: the University of Wisconsin Guide for Students on Writing Grants, which you can Google exactly like that, which I drew a lot of these tips from. And the best grant writing exercises to improve your grants looks like a kind of weird commercial site, but then it has a whole bunch of other sources. And I noticed it looked quite helpful. So I will stop sharing slides now and turn the mic back